The song doesn't even start with the blues turnaround. What are we doing here? Is there possibly a better way to start a song? Seriously, come on. The song gave me blues balls. All right, and we're back again. So today's video is going to be another reaction. And as you can see from the title, controversially, we're going to be talking about why women can't sing the blues. No, that's just a joke. No, there's great female blues singers. You know, just off the top of my head, I can think of Ma Rainey, I can think of Bessie Smith, Big Mama Thornton. Those are some legends, absolute legends. They don't get enough credit or accolades, I will say that, but they exist, and you can listen to them. But what I did hear is an absolute desecration of one of my favorite blues songs of all time. I think it might be one of the best. Robert Johnson's Me and the Devil. So I was just scrolling through some YouTube shorts, and I saw a couple of videos where there was this song that was playing, with these violins, strings and shit. And I'm hearing the lyrics, and I could have sworn this woman is saying me and the devil walking side by side, right? And obviously, there's only one song with that line in that I can think of, and that's Robert Johnson. So I decided to look it up. I don't know how I ended up figuring it out what it was, but it turns out it's some European band called Soap&Skin. Well, not a band. I think it's just some lady or whatever. Soap&Skin, and she did this. I don't know. It just, in my opinion, really sucks. I hate it. I'm sorry. Um, I don't like what she did with the song. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. It really just kind of ruins what was great about the original one in the first place, right? When when you listen to that one, it just doesn't compare. I might play some clips of the song throughout, just little bits here and there, just to give some context to what I'm talking to. So the first thing that I didn't like about it, right? When you listen to the original Robert Johnson song, it's just one dude with an acoustic guitar just jamming out, right? It's a lot more raw, a lot less contrived. It's not this massive, uh, overdone, overblown performance. It's very simple. It's raw and gritty. It's honest, for lack of a better word. To be corny about it, I suppose. But yeah, it doesn't have any kind of bluesy sound to it. It's like an orchestral piece, which is fine, I guess. It's not it's not the worst thing about the song, in my opinion, but it just doesn't. It's not what the song needs. The original, as I said, with the acoustic guitar played by Johnson. It's literally just his voice, his guitar, and his foot tapping on the ground. That's it. That's all you hear. But obviously, Johnson has this, virtuoso guitar style that just, when you compare it to the string performance on the cover song, the cover version, it's just not. It doesn't compare. Well, not that like simple music is bad, but I don't think any violin player is going to be impressed by what they're hearing when they hear that song. It's like pop orchestra, I guess. And in my opinion, the effect that has on the song is that it takes it from being this, raw, gritty, dark story, that Johnson is telling, and changes it into this melodramatic, like theater kid performance kind of thing. And I don't appreciate it for this song. There's a time and a place for that, I guess, but I don't think a Robert Johnson song is the place for it. And, my next issue with the song is the singer's voice, to be honest. It's this style of singing that I think comes out of some kind of tradition of Europeans imitating Björk in her singing style, Björk, however you say that. And it sounds amazing when she does it, but all these others, I don't know, they just don't hit it in quite the way she does. They just sound like marble mouthed. I can't stand the way she pronounces words, which again, when certain, like I said, with Björk, it works. But maybe it's just because it's a Robert Johnson song that it takes me out of the song so much. And it even ruins some of the rhyme scheme. Whereas you've got in the original version, with Johnson's accent, he would say, "Early this morning, when you knocked upon my door, when you knocked upon my door, I said, 'Hello, Satan, I believe it's time to go.'" So, do and go, door, rhymes with go, in the way he sings it. But when she sings it, Soap and Skin, she pronounces door as door. When you knocked upon my door. When you knocked upon my door. And then she rhymes door with go. She pronounces go as go. So door and go. It doesn't work, right? That was just one little nitpick that I noticed. I do have a little bit of an obsession when it comes to accents in music, right? But that's a topic for another video, I suppose. And to go back for a second to the actual music that's being played, I also, I just really love the sound of Robert Johnson's guitar. There's just something about the way he plays that guitar, it's obviously highly skillful, but there's something that he does with the rhythm where he's like pulsing it out, I'm assuming with his thumb, and it kind of sounds like he's hitting the open, E string. I don't know what he's got it tuned to. I have, but probably it's probably open G, so that's probably a low D that he's hitting. So he's got that. He's chugging that drop D, I guess. But it sounds like he's like hitting some scrape, on some muted notes on other strings as well. So it's got this power to it, and it makes me think of like I said, like early like drop D chugging, like a ch 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 ch. It's really cool. It really sounds like some kind of like proto metal, and obviously his voice has this like haunting kind of quality to it. I suppose partially that comes from the technology it was recorded with. Johnson has the voice for this kind of song, the haunting, howling voice that makes me really believe the story. It really sounds like he is telling me this dark tale of, you know, he tells it like an encounter with the devil, But the way I see it, it it's sort of a story about him and his dark feelings inside, and how it comes out. He tells us in the song what it is that he does that's so evil. I guess you could phrase it as what the devil makes him do, and a lot of that is lost, in the cover song. So for the last little bit of comparison, I wanted to actually compare the lyrics to explain what I'm talking about, and you'll see where the title of the video comes from once we get through this. Right. So they both have the same opening. Right. You've got early this morning when you knocked upon my door. Okay, repeated, and I said, "Hello, Satan. I believe it's time to go." Okay, we discussed the pronunciation issue there. Let's move on. Right. Then you've got the me and the devil section. Right, which is the piece that really caught my ear on the cover when I heard it in the short, because I mean, first of all, it's the title, But it's a pretty iconic blues line, me and the devil walking side by side. Now, here is where the whole thing really starts to fall apart if it hasn't already when it comes to the cover. If you I feel like if you can get past the over dramatic, melodrama theater kid presentation of the song, you can get past uh, her voice, which she's not a bad singer. I can get down with this kind of singing, but not in this way. It just doesn't work. Okay, you get past those things, right? You get past the pop orchestra sound that it has. Then you look at the lyrics, and this is where it really, really breaks down for me. Because you see, the next line of the song is the first example where Johnson, and it's the strongest example actually. It's what makes the strongest example of Johnson telling us what makes him so evil, right? Because that's what the song is about. He's talking about walking with the devil and his evil spirit, and this is one of the manifestations of what his evil spirit does. He says, and I'm going to beat my woman until I get satisfied, right? I mean, that's an objectively horrible thing to do, but that's part of where the power of the song comes from, right? I mean, it's evil. It's an evil thing to do. But then you've got Soap and Skin's version, where you know it's just absolutely weak. She says, "And I'm going to see my man until I get satisfied." Okay, you're gonna walk up to him and, how nice. Okay, she's gonna see her man. She's gonna be happy about it. Whatever. Even if she's meaning she's gonna see him, I guess, like know him in the biblical sense and get satisfied. Even if it's that, right? Fucking is not that edgy. There's nothing evil about sex, right? It just it really it really takes away a lot of the punch of the song. I don't know if it was done in like cowardly recoil at the idea of beating a woman, right? Which that's that's the feeling that you're supposed to be invoking. So why, you're supposed to invoke this uncomfortable feeling. It's like I said, it's evil. It's a bad thing. Anyway, that's where I really noticed. Wait, this doesn't make sense, in the context of the song. And it's kind of why I jokingly said women can't sing the blues, right? Because this chick doesn't want to talk about a woman getting beaten, right? Obviously, that doesn't actually mean a woman can't sing the blues. She can't sing this song, okay? And I did think about the possibility that maybe she's kind of taking a different approach to this lyrically, where instead of using the devil as a metaphor for the evil inside her, the devil could be a metaphor for her evil boyfriend, right? Her evil man, her evil husband, whatever. So when she says, me and the devil walking side by side, it might just be her and her man, okay? I did consider that. But we'll see as we go further. That doesn't hold up. If that is what she meant, she didn't apply it consistently through the lyrics, so it just doesn't work. But yeah, if that was what she was going for, then I guess, okay, she's maybe at this point she doesn't know she's walking with the devil yet, right? She sees her man, she's satisfied. Then, in the Robert Johnson version, we have Johnson telling us, she said you don't see why that I would dog her around. Okay, so that's obviously like, he's telling us his woman doesn't see why he treats her so badly. He dogs her around, he treats her like a dog. Like, we know what that means. That's pretty simple. Soap and Skin, she says basically the same thing. say don't see why you would dog me round, okay? But obviously she's saying it from the woman's perspective. This guy's dogging her around. Then she also goes on about, see, don't see why people dog me around, which kind of, I don't know, kind of strays away a little bit from what I think she might have been trying to do with the song, as I said. Because now she's just like, it's like a general thing. People just treat her like shit. Maybe that's what she's trying to say, you know. Everyone, including him, treats her like shit, whatever. Okay, I get it. Maybe. Maybe that's what it is. Then Johnson says to us, it must have been that old evil spirit so deep down in the ground. Okay? It's his evil spirit, that it's the evil spirit that's making him do these things, right? What does she say? It must be that old spirit. She says the same thing, right? Then we have, you may bury my body down by the highway side. They both have the same lyrics here. Johnson does kind of add a little flair to it, where between the lines he says something like, you know, I don't care where you bury my body when I'm dead and gone. You know, just to kind of emphasize what he's trying to say here. You may bury my body down by the highway side. I don't give a fuck, you know. I'm such a bad guy. I don't deserve a proper, decent burial. Just dump me. It's alright. In which case, that's, you know, how I'm interpreting it. That's why he would say that. It doesn't make sense for her to talk about burying her body by the highway side unless, okay, maybe this guy is going to kill her and he's going to, you know, her lover, who is the devil in this interpretation, is going to bury her body by the highway side. I feel like I'm being generous with this interpretation though, because I don't know, this you may bury my body, you know, like the way it's worded just doesn't match up to that idea perfectly to me. You know, I feel like there's some wiggle room to accept it, but I'm more on the side of that's either not what she meant, or she just didn't retool the words well enough to make it work. But then the last piece is really, really where her version falls apart for me lyrically, because she doesn't change the last lines that Johnson sings, where he says, so my old evil spirit can catch a greyhound bus and ride. My old evil spirit, not his old evil spirit. Okay? Not boyfriend, lover, husband, whatever's old evil spirit. His old evil spirit, her old evil spirit. So what are we talking about? Who's who's this, you know, evil? Who's this devil? It doesn't work. It just doesn't make sense. And I feel like it falls apart because she was afraid of that one line. If she just didn't, you know, cower in fear away from that one line, I'm trying not to say this in a really derogatory way, but you know, just say the line, give it its meaning. You know, a lot of these old blues songs have these topics in them, and I feel like if you're going to cover it, you need to find the right way to either look. You can play it straight, where you just tell the story as it is. I mean, first of all, it's not your story; you're just retelling it. So it's not like you're saying you're going to do these things. That's just the story. It's like acting out a movie or a play, okay? Or you can really embrace it. You know, you're this bad guy. You tell it like you are really this bad guy, whatever. Or you can repurpose the lyrics. Like, I really feel like if she had changed that last line to somehow imply that the evil spirit is not hers, but the other person, that could have worked. Because then it's like she's with this man, she doesn't know he's evil. He kills her, buries her by the highway side, and then, I don't know, leaves in a Greyhound bus and just leaves her body there. It just, I feel like she didn't hit that. But yeah, that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much it. That sums up why I just didn't feel the song worked. It's just so many reasons. I guess it's not that many reasons, but it's every element of the song. Every element was just fumbled, in my opinion. There was one thing that I liked about it, I will say. So when Robert Johnson sings the song, right, he does these little like oohs, these little like howls, like when he's like, me and the devil, he does like these little things. What I do kind of like that she did was where I think it was when she did the me and the devil part, where it's like me and the devil, like on the violin. I think that was actually like a clever little moment. So I will say that I did like that. Me and the devil. Me and the devil. It's not all, so that it's not all negative. And like I said, I do think she's a good singer. I just don't like what she did with this song at all. But what I do hope is that people are gonna look up her song, people that like it, and find out that it's a Robert Johnson song, and maybe more people will get into that old school blues. There might be a couple of people. I doubt that most of the people who hear it through Soap and Skin are going to be interested in Robert Johnson or blues in general, but I don't know, maybe a few will, and maybe there'll be some kind of like Delta blues revival. I don't know. Whatever. Just I hope more people get into blues. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I guess I'm just a old timey traditional blues fart. I don't know, swinging my blues balls around. Yeah, maybe the song gave me blues balls. Let's call it that. I never got that gratifying blue note once. So yeah, that's it. I think I don't think I have anything else left to say. I guess I'll play us out with a Robert Johnson song. I'm still working on Malted Milk by Robert Johnson. So let's hear that, huh? Why not? See you guys next time. Peace. I keep drinking malted milk, trying to drive my blues away. I keep drinking malted milk, trying to drive my blues away. You're just welcome to my loving as a flower is in May. Malted milk keeps rushing to my head. Malted milk keeps rushing to my head. And I've got this warm old feeling, and I'm talking all out my head. Baby, fix me one more drink. Hug your daddy one more time. Baby, fix me one more drink. Hug your daddy one more time. Keep on stirring my malted milk, mama, until I change my mind. Malted milk keeps rushing to my head. Malted milk, keeps rushing to my head. And I've got this warm old feeling, and I'm talking all out my head. My doorknob keeps on turning. There must be spooks around my bed. My doorknob keeps on turning. There must be spooks around my bed. And I've got this funny feeling, and the hair's rising on my head.